Okay, it's officially 2025. Another episode of Quicksilver about to take place here. First, I'm going to read some comments as promised. In this episode, I'm going to attempt to switch over my 6-digit displays from Meteor over to my 7-digit displays that I have yet to source from my pile, and switch over the wiring to enable the 7-digit displays to work on the Quicksilver. So I have got the lamp panel all wired up. Everything's tested and working. The displays, the general illumination, the controlled lamps. Just a matter of installing what appears to be just pretty much one wire to convert and enable the 7 digits to work for the Quicksilver. So if you're interested in seeing that and you want to cut right to the chase, then you'll just want to hit the old fast forward button, because there's a few comments here, and I promised all you shenaniganders and lepers of the world out there that I would read them prior to every episode that remains on Quicksilver. And we got a bunch this time around because I think I missed a whole bunch last time, and it might be a minute or two. So if you want to figure out how to do this wiring, then just fast forward. I don't even know really how to do it, but I'm going to try and figure it out. So this is kind of like a how-to video, but I don't know how to do it yet. But in the old shenanigander tradition, I'll be stumbling, fumbling, and bumbling my way until I succeed, hopefully. So like I said, if you want to cut right to that action, just fast forward all this nonsense. I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. A couple other side notes. I got this lovely gift from Corey Cook of London Pinball for Christmas. Check this out. It is what he claims is the greatest headlamp in existence. He uses it. He repairs pinball machines like day and night as a business, and this is his go-to headlamp. And he got me one for Christmas, and I finally went and bought headlamps. I bought a 2-pack, and just in the last few months, I've been getting used to wearing them. I've got like a kind of a lighter, sleeker headband style, and it works good, fits right over my hat, but Corey swears by this. It's a little clunkier, a little heavier, but I did try it on. It's like 3 straps, one top strap and then the 2 side straps. And it's pretty comfortable, so just pretty sweet. I'm excited to try this out, and I may do that for this episode. And then I got also a gift from Dutch. They are restoring their no good gophers, and look what I got. I got a Buzz and I got a Bud. They are in rough shape, been poorly touched up. Got some makeup on there that looks like it's running. Their eyes have been drilled out for LED, a little LED mod that they did. And they're a little broken too. So they got new Bud and Buzz for their no good gophers, and I get the old ones, so those will go up somewhere. So that's pretty sweet. All right, let's get to some comments. Okay, so I don't know. I'm an episode behind in comments somehow. Like, I don't think I've read any of these comments from episode 15. Is this 15? 15. So let's zoom in a little bit so you can read along. When you hear the chimes, remember to turn the page. Okay. We got to get glasses. That's what we got to get. Where are my glasses? I should have a go-to pair somewhere handy. All right, fine. I'll use my backup pair. We've got James Allen, who says, battled it out in our end of the year tournament wearing my new Shenanigans shirt. Oh, sweet, man. That's awesome. Glad that you are repping and sporting the action. Pulled out a second. See, that shirt is good luck. I think I'm going to make states. Oh, nice, man. That is great. I am also was vying for a top 8 position in Ontario. I failed at that. I will make provincials, but no bye for me. I've never had a bye, and I was kind of close this year, so I was gunning for it, but didn't quite pull that off. But yeah, good luck in your states. Don't remember what state you're in or if you told me, but whatever it is, take it down. All right, we got Colks Pinball. I was chatting with him on the pinball repair group on the Facebooks. I just realized I was talking to you the other day about how I just added one wire on my Meteor and Galaxy to run 7-digit displays on those. Yeah, so the video you sent me, definitely helpful. So thank you for that. And I'm going to try and employ that today. And I'm going to click like on everybody just so I can kind of keep track of what I read and what I haven't. Because I am getting lost with this new strategy. John K says, the wiring scares the crap out of me. Kudos to doing this, and congrats on your Metallica Remastered launch tournament win. Thanks, brother. One question, who do you use for your circuit board repairs? I think you messaged me on Facebook directly, so I think you know the answer to that now. And that is Brent Butler. And you can find him at, I think it's like tommypinball@gmail.com. So if you guys need your boards repaired, especially if you're in Ontario or Canada, Brent Butler is the guy. All right, we've got Mark Valuk here saying L is more torque, power. H is speed but less power. Okay, all right. You figured I would know how to work a drill right about these days, but I'm still learning. All right, what else do we got? Mark Jackson, I think he did a pretty good job too. This reminded me of a time about 18 years ago when I had to make a backboard from scratch for a Kings and Queens. Took a while, but goddamn exciting. When you plug it in, it actually works. Absolutely. You are very close to that point now. Go get it, Mike. Yes, I am very close. I got to add friggin' one wire and daisy chain it, and I should be good to go. Papa Sean says, I was hoping to see how you dealt with switching player 3 and 4 the right way. Yes, I hope you were all screaming at me when I installed player 3 and 4 incorrectly. I had them swapped. I got to stop doing that. I'm just going to mess with my my focus here. But yeah, it was your duty, all of you guys, to yell at me through the TV when I screwed that up. And yeah, obviously I corrected it. If you are up to date on the videos, but yeah, it took me a minute to discover that. Are you going to have to redo all of your controlled wires, or is there any way to reverse them in the head? Well, you probably know the answer to that by now because I've already posted the next video. So everything is good with the controlled wiring. We got Monster Core Arcade says, let the shenanigans continue in 2025. Indeed. Thank you. Happy New Year. Today is January the 2nd. So the new year is just begun. Espresso Mechanic TV says the wiring is the most mind-boggling thing. Must be a nightmare the first time you attempt it. About pinball machines. Good to see that it was easier than it first appeared. Yeah, when you first lift the hood of a pinball machine and you see 10,000 miles of wire, it's definitely intimidating. But if you just take your time to figure it out and break it down, it's actually not too bad. Code says low values for screwing. Oh, okay, here we go. This is the drill talk. Easier slip on the clutch, less stripped out screws. So, okay, so if I go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my cordless, then it won't be like cranking the shit out of the screws. So it makes sense. Lesser values for low torque, higher values for a higher torque. Hey, I think I got it figured out finally. Thanks, Codes. Oh, I got to remember to click on these. Let's click on everybody. All right, we're almost at the end, boys and girls. Don't worry. We got Big Mike says, thank God for Alltech for making these boards, saving a lot of Bally and Stern pinball machines. Absolutely. And same with Weebly and what's the other one? Is it Rotten Dog? Stern is still in business. Great job as usual. Keep up the good work. Thanks, brother. Much appreciated. And we got Jeffrey Nero, who says, I'm watching you go to town on a fantastic resto instead of doing some simple swaps on my pig of a pinbot after this video. I have distracted you from your task at hand, but that's how we roll, right? Okay, so let's go to the latest video. Got 9 more comments, so I'll try and whip through these fairly quickly. Codes again says, looking great. Nice harness hack job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Full on Leppy. Absolutely. And he approves. Better than I would have done. Definitely leapt that shit up and was proud of that one. Mark Jackson, very good work getting the harness to fit right. I've had globes from time to time that don't have a great knobbly bits to lock into the socket. Oh, I see what you mean. Or maybe it's the sockets themselves. Get after it, Mike. Make it an offer it can't refuse. Yeah, the stupid sockets for my back box are being stubborn. But I've fought with them all, and so far I am winning. Damon Huffman says, Mike, I deemed myself Lep. Oh, really? I don't know about that, man. We'll see. The wife. Nice, that's appropriate. Good stuff. Jamie's funny. She should comment more often. Oh, I know. I was hoping she'd come down to do some laundry while I was reading these comments and keep that like a rolling tradition or something. The lampboard hack turned out nice. Frank and Silver is coming together. Thank you very much, brother. Espresso Mechanic TV. Certainly a lesson there with those light sockets. Will be interesting to see the 7-digit displays being installed. Have a fucking great new year. You too, brother. Thank you. Colks Pinball is back. Says, the video I sent you of the 7-digit wiring I actually made for David Yop. Oh, the Yopsicle guy. I was kind of surprised when I noticed I never made of that for my channel. Kind of surprised when I noticed I never made that for my channel. Maybe Colk didn't post that video in his channel. I'm not quite sure I'm translating that. Probably just me. But, all right, we've got UKXVC says the Quicksilver is coming along great, but will it be a keeper? Well, you know, I don't really keep anything for eternity, but I definitely, this is a kind of more of a longer lasting machine than some of the others. Definitely going to be hanging on to it for a while and enjoying it. KJW648 says, the displays, couldn't you just swap one wire? You could have done it on the board connector. Well, I did think about that. If I could have done the swap at the board end instead of the display end. And I don't think it's true, but it could be, you know, like actually if it could have been done that way, I would have loved to known about it. But yeah, I just don't know. Probably did some unnecessary lepping, but you know, that's how we work sometimes. All right, we got Mark Valuk says, I wonder if it is the different looking brand of socket that doesn't hold them locked. Yeah, I think he could be right on that because I have 2 different types of sockets in the back box. And I think one is just a little more stubborn than the other. And he also says, that's the door handle, the washer thingy on the door. Oh, that is what that is. Okay. So that little washer that's installed into the back box by the latch, it's just so you can grab onto the door and open it so you have something to hold on to. Okay, I don't think I ever used that thing as a door handle, but good for pointing that out. Thank you, Mark. I had no idea, so that makes perfect sense. Okay, now let's move on to some 7-digit wiring. Okay, let's have a quick look. Start by checking out the MPU schematic here. First, I do wonder if I had just switched. This is the display latch strobe. All right, this is for the displays. We got player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. What if, in hindsight, I just switched pin 23 with pin 22 Could that have perhaps saved me from rewiring the entire friggin' display harness? I kind of feel like it possibly could have, but it's way too late now. But man, oh man, would that have been a luxury if I knew that and knew that it actually worked. Okay, so we are currently on, let's zoom out a bit here. This is J1 connector of the MPU. And we start with pin 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 and 9 are not used. 10 is here. Then we got like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. But here is what I'm actually looking for. That's pin 1. So pin 7 here is the 1 millions. So there's, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Digit 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Digit 7 is pin 7 on J1 connector. Now this MPU made by Weebly is pretty handy because it actually has everything clearly labeled. So without even using the schematic, you can see there, J1, pin 7 says right on it, digit 7. So that spot on the connector, basically, we got digit 1, 2, 3, green is 4, 5, 6. Those are the 6 wires, 1 for each digit. So I just got to add a wire here. And then, basically, the next thing I have to do is feed that wire. Like I want one long enough that it actually follows the whole harness. So you can see I'm wearing my new headlamp. It's got a pretty wide range of light, so far so good. There we go. Okay, so I believe that it is this spot here, right beside orange, according to the research I've done, that I need to add that wire. It needs to go to here. It's got to be a double wire, and then that wire, it's got to come over and end up here, and then come around to here, and then I don't need to do the credit display, and then jump it over to here. That's basically it. That's the theory anyway. So I'm going to start working on that. Maybe I'll just do a little sample just from the MPU to display 1, just as kind of a proof of concept. Find myself a good working 7-digit display, and then we can test that out before we go ahead and do the whole thing. All right, upon closer examination here, I'm starting to think that the wiring might go from here to player 4 display first, because these are all double wires. So like, for example, the white-black wire is the 6th digit. So perhaps it comes in here and then it comes back out, and then it goes to player 3, which is now just single wires because, I did my thing. And then it comes back around, then it goes in and out of player 2, and then finishes at player 1 because these are all singles. So I'm thinking that instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to go 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, interesting side note here. This is a photo. You can see the latch portion right here. Oh, someone's at my front door. Hold on. Okay, I think it's our neighbors. Anyway, this is, you can see by the notch here, player 2 display wiring on an actual Quicksilver. Thanks to Warren for sending me this. And it has single wires on player 2. So it's almost like the wiring started on player 2 in this particular instance. So that's interesting. And then if you look closely, you can see beside the orange wire here, there is a gray, or yeah, I'd say that's a gray wire. And that is not on my display connectors. Yeah, so here's my player 2 display. They're all doubles and no wire beside the orange. So I think we know exactly what we got to do. We just got to actually go ahead and do it. And yes, that was the neighbors. The kids gave us thank you drawings for their Christmas gifts that we gave them. So that's kind of almost like pinball-y, eh? Thank you from Tom and Cameron. How cute is that? You can really see how this headlamp is working, eh? That's pretty sweet. But I managed to find me a grayish, maybe perhaps gray-green wire of decent length from my old Kings of Steel lamp panel there. So, first step, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one-handed, is I got a terminal on there, 0.100. I'm going to stick this in here, and yeah, I need an extra hand for that. Alright, I got that installed. You can see it is the shiniest of all the pins. And now we'll plug this connector back in, which you cannot see because my ribbon cables. Now, what I'm going to do is just sort of like temporarily jam this wire in here. Okay, just to test the theory. I don't know how effective that is. Maybe I will actually add a terminal and a second wire in case it does work, then I can jump it over to the next player. So, and then I gotta find a good working 7-digit display. I'll be right back. Okay, next thing. Grabbing a 0.156 Trifuricon. Ooh, it's a little flickery with the headlamp, eh, isn't it? Very, like, disco-esque. Anyway, 22 to 26 gauge, smaller of the Trifuricon options. And we're going to crimp this onto this wire, and I got an extra wire attached to it. So this, in theory, this extra wire is going to go to player 3. Yeah, so let's crimp this on here. 2 wires into 1 crimp. It's a small gauge, so it shouldn't be a problem. I don't know if you can see anything. Okay. Can you see that? We've got 2 wires. Oh, the flickering stopped. If I change my direction of my head, it flickers. Okay, that could get a little epileptic. Anyway, there's that. Okay. Now, let's add it to this connector. Voila. So that way, if things actually work, I've got enough wire slack that I can like zip tie it from up there all along the harness here and around. And then I got plenty of wire to work my way over to the next display. So now I just have to find a good 7-digit display. I have a display. Whether it is good or not, I don't actually know. Still got the glass nipple, so that is a good sign. Didn't lose all of my plasma. Oh shit, look at this. Missing the decoder chip and several other parts. Okay, moving on to the next display. Okay, Here is a stern display. It looks like all the parts are there. It even says it's okay and it's signed by JM, so must be good, right? So I'll pop this in. One thing of note is that these 7-digit display PCBs are a lot longer, and hopefully that doesn't interfere with anything. It shouldn't. It's a stern, everything else, so should be fine. Houston, we have a problem. Check this out. This back edge here is preventing my display from going all the way in. So I'm gonna have to potentially, I don't know, bring all these to Kevin and have that cut off, or just see if I can find Bally 7-digit displays, which I might have, we'll see, but we can still run this test. But yeah, famous last words, right? Hopefully it shouldn't be a problem. That is not on there very good. I need my third hand for that. All right, here's the next problem. This pin here. Let me turn off my headlamp, that's annoying. That header pin, you can see where the key is. Like, the key there and the header pin are colliding and not letting me put connector on all the way. So I just need to snip that, get that a little lower. Well, let's see if this works. All right, that should. All right, it's better. It's not perfect, but all the other displays kind of have that sort of little hump in the middle. Not that one. All right, anyway, we're wired up here. Let's just make sure this other end here should be fine. It's not snipped. So in theory, if this display works and this wiring is right, then we should have 7 digits. A lot of things have to happen right for this to actually work. So I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't work first time, but here we go. 7-digit display test number 1. Okay, definitely something wrong with that display. And it's still doing the weird high score to date with the 3 zeros. So I'm not sure why it's doing that, but clearly I need to go find a working display. All right, attempt number 2. It does say 1 digit is out from my notes. What if we run display test? Okay, the digits are very weak, but it actually, the 7th digit works. I think we're onto something. I think I just really need to reflow the headers on that and then fix the missing digit, and we might be progressing here. How's everything else looking? Player 1 is looking a little dim. Is it true that player 1 and 3 are tied together and 2 and 4 are tied together? And yeah, this doesn't look like a display issue. This like dimness for 1 and 3. I think it might be something beyond that. Okay, display test number 3. This one's pretty filthy. I think it was in a flood. Check this out. So the weak display issue might have actually been the individual displays So that's never happened before though. So maybe I have to reflow those headers. But check this out. That is a perfectly working display. We've got 7 digits, boys and girls. It's happening. So I'm gonna reflow the headers on that just to see what the heck's going on with that. But everything else is working just fine. Okay, I reflowed the headers on this display here. I just want to make sure everything is hunky-dory before I proceed. Hey, I think things are hunky-dory, except for the weird high score to date, 000 thing. But that I can live with. Let's go back into display test. Check that out. Okay, everything is happy now. That is good news. There's not some weird wiring issue that I caused. Everything in theory should work now. So I'm going to wire up the next 3 displays. Just keep jumpering that wire and keep hunting for some good displays. Okay, I gotta run one more test before I get too carried away here. I want to try a 7-digit Bally display because from what I understand, this might need to go in a different part on the connector for it to work properly. So let's see if that is true and if this display even works. Okay, display seems to work. Let's go into display test. Oh, it does appear to be true. I need to move that connector over. And if I want the displays to all fit, then probably in my best interest to find all 7-digit Bally displays. So I'm going to move that wire over to where I think it needs to go, and we'll test that again. Okay, I swapped the wire over from pin 11 to pin 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In theory, that should now work. So let's power this guy on. And if that works, then it'll save me from messing with the friggin' display brackets. All right, so far so good. Check that out. All right, we're officially in business. So all I have to do now is find 3 more good 7-digit Bally displays, and then I don't have to mess with any brackets at all. And I will use pin 12 on those guys, and it's pin 11 on Stearns, in case you need to know that. But for this purpose, we're going pin 12, boys and girls. Okay, I found a second working display. I have it currently in that spot. I tested it in my good spot, and now I'm going to do the same thing. I got 2 wires tied into one. Here's the end that's going to go to player 2 next. So we're going to pop this into pin 12. Connect that. Make sure this end isn't shorting on anything. And then we're going to power on the machine and see if we have 2 7-digit displays now. What? What happened? How did I lose the display completely? I mean, I do have a million displays all over the friggin' place. These are all my no good Stern ones for the most part. But I swear that display was working. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, for this test, I swapped the 2 displays. So in theory, the known working display is there and the shitty display is there. Although that was working. How did that display just die on me? That's bizarre. Okay, well, let's check if we have 7 digits on player 4 now, though. We can at least test that. Oh, I went too far. Wait, there we go. Okay, so the good news is that the wiring works, but bad news is that somehow that display just mysteriously died. Okay, I found a different display. In theory, we should have 2 good ones. There we go. Players 3 and players 4 are good to go. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat. You know the routine now. It's actually pretty simple. I mean, there's been some hiccups along the way for me, but in theory, to summarize, we got wire from pin 7 of J1 to pin 12 of player 4 connector, pin 12 player 3, then I'm going to go to player 2 and then player 1, and I should be done. Okay, I have accomplished the mission. All my wiring is in place. I just got to like tidy it up and zip tie it. And got 4 working displays. I was getting right down to the nitty-gritty. I mean, I have several that could potentially be repaired. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to swap these 2 displays because this one has a little bit of nasty on the last 2 digits, and I want to save that for player 4 because, you know, more often it's going to be a 1 or 2 player game than it is going to be a 4 player game in theory. So I'm going to swap that and I'll be right back. Okay, are we live? Yeah, okay. Player 2 and 4 have been swapped. Oh, I had another light bulb jump out at me while I was messing with this, so I had to fiddle with that socket. But let's go through the official test here. Check it out. Ooh, that looks like crap on camera. I gotta hold steady and then maybe you'll be able to see it. No, let's see. What if I zoom? I'm gonna find the sweet spot. Zoom out. How does that look? I can't even really see. I don't have my glasses on. Hold on. This is a LEP here, don't forget. Low-end production, low-end pinball. There you have it. All 7-digit displays are working. So that's pretty sweet. That was the final hurdle. So I'm going to tidy up my wiring, and then we may just install the friggin' backglass. I use some zip ties. Alright, I got everything all tidied up here. Took a little bit. I actually removed the MPU because I still had this harness that needed to go back into place. So wire clamp, clamp, clamp. That's all been clamped. So that's all tidied up in that regard. Reinstalled the MPU and all the board screws. I had them out for a while till I knew things were good. I am going to try the original MPU at some point with the updated ROMs, which, yeah, here it is. That'll be later. And here's the wire coming from the MPU right here, like so. And then all kinds of zip action. I need to buy some more, actually. I've got like multiple colors here. Red, green, blue, black. It's multicolored, but it don't matter. Let's function over form. Want it to work. And I don't care if it's all white zip ties. Who cares about that? Okay, so now we can close the back box without pinching any wires finally. Let's turn it on and just make sure everything still works. I added some, did I mention this yet? I can't remember. this dampening foam here. It's like I don't know, 1/16 of an inch, maybe an 1/8. And I added it to a couple displays. It originally has basically some sort of foam on it, but it gets old and brittle and falls off. Oh, no, just looking at it through the camera makes it look messed up. But yeah, so I added some here and here. We want to preserve and protect the back glass when it finally goes on. And here is the final test. Everything is looking good. Staring at these LEDs is making my vision go a little blurry, but all right, everything still works. Great. Okay, wow. What's left? Throw on a back glass? Should we do that? I'm gonna have to transfer over the trim. That'd be a good way to end this episode, I think, eh? Okay, I'm gonna go grab the back glass from my bedroom. I've got a couple pieces of black trim that I'm gonna use instead of this original white trim, because that stands out like a sore thumb. Then I'm gonna have to pull off this top piece, this bottom piece, transfer that over, and I'll do all that. I gotta clean this up too. Let's move this out of the way. I think my lift channel is a little crusty. Let's see. Lift channel is here. Actually, it don't look too bad. I should clean up just fine. So I'm gonna harvest those pieces. Maybe even transfer over my little doorknob, and then I'll wrap up the video. Okay, I'm finding with a little quad zero steel wool. That is the before. And moving into after territory here. It's this trim's cleaning up pretty nicely, so just a little bit of elbow grease. All right, I got my trim cleaned up as good as I want to get it. Starting to kind of tidy things up here too. Magic is not as much of a workbench. I've got most of my displays put away. Those are the 3 good 6-digit ones. And yeah, things are just not as chaotic as they were. So I think it's about time to grab me a back glass. I don't know if you've ever even seen it. I don't know if I've shown it yet, but I'm gonna go grab it. All right, here it is. Straight from BG Resto. Got my 2 side pieces of trim. Stole from another back glass that I had in my stash. I think it was like an old black hole inner back glass or something, maybe exterior back glass. But it's gonna look better than the white. It won't stand out so much. Yeah, so this BG Resto is in around the Michigan area, and he goes to Clay Harrell's Ann Arbor Pinball Museum. So he brought this to that show, and for that reason it was $50 US off. Okay, I'll be up in 2. And my buddy Jeff Knight was going to Ann Arbor Pinball Show, so he picked this up for me. So I didn't have to pay shipping. I got $50 US off because of the show price. And I was kind of hoping to not have to pay the customs and duty, but Jeff Knight did get nabbed for that, so I had to pay for that. So even with all the discounts and savings, this was still 370 Canadian plus $70 to tax/customs. So dinner is ready. I'm gonna have to put this on hold, and I will be back later. Also, Canada's playing, what, Slovakia, I think, right now in the World Juniors. And Canada needs a win. So first period just started. Canada let in a goal in like seconds. So I gotta watch some of that action too. I'll be back in a bit. Holy crap, Canada is sucking. They got a 5-minute major, but then they scored a shorthanded goal, making it 1-1. But then they got an own goal, making it 2-1 for, I think it's Slovakia. What did I say? Or is it Czechia? I don't know. It's something, yeah. And then with 2 seconds to go, they scored again. So they're down 3-1. So yeah, Canada's probably going to be out if they don't get their shit together and stop getting penalties. That's been the story of their tournament. Anyway, I've got 20 minutes before the intermission, so I'm going to install my hardware here. Now there is some tape on this back glass, probably to just protect the edges while shipping, and I believe that there's a chance I may have to remove it for this stuff to fit properly. So I'm going to figure that out, and I should be able to get this trim on in short order. Okay, it's coming along. This bottom piece is real tight, and I haven't decided whether I want to pull off this tape or not. On the back side, it's actually pretty thick. It's like an inch or more, and I feel like it's kind of meant to stay on there. Fortunately, the top piece fit on perfectly. Actually, it was a little bit loose, but fortunately I had this in stock. I believe this is the exact same stuff that they used at the factory. It's a special kind of two-sided compression tape or something like that, and I gladly and happily remembered that I had it. And you just stick on little pieces like this. It looks like at the factory they just did 2 little pieces. I put on 4, but I didn't leave them hanging down below, so there's little danglers. I have mine tucked up so you can't see them sticking out on the front or back side. And then the side pieces, I did just use scissors to trim them down about a ½ inch because they're a little too long, and just to make sure they were on nice and snug, I just used my hammer, my mallet, ever so gently, just to make sure it's on there good, which it is. Now I just need to fight with this bottom piece, and we can do the fitment test. Okay, she didn't go down without a fight, that is for sure. But check this out. Got her in there nice and snug all the way to the bottom. I did have to trim off some of the tape. I just took off the tape that was on the front side of the glass. I just used a razor and just kind of basically just shaved the layer right off. It should be somewhere around here. So this is the tape that was on the front. I didn't bother with the stuff on the back just to give me that extra tiniest little bit of room that I needed. It still wasn't enough. I'm like thinking, how am I going to kind of spread this bar just a little bit? So I thought maybe I'd slide it over top of a piece of playfield glass that I have like standing up on the wall in the other room and just kind of bang it onto the glass. But that wasn't really working, so I thought maybe I'll just kind of like file in the groove a little bit. But it turns out this file fit in the groove ever so tightly that I had to like take a hammer and I literally smashed the file into the groove, and it was a bitch to get back out, I tell you. And then I did the same on this side. I just smashed the file into the groove right to the bottom, and then fought with multiple tools to get it back out. But that was just the extra little bit of room that I needed. And then I successfully installed this on backwards. Yes, that's right. The lift portion was on the back. And I went into panic mode. I'm like, oh my God, is this ever gonna come off? And because there's adhesive on the front now that I removed the tape, and I crammed it in there good, so went into panic mode, didn't film that I had it on backwards. I was not even going to share that because, you know, that might be just too shenanigans for y'all. But thank God I was able to pry it back off and put it on properly. So there it is in its full glory. I did not need no two-sided sticky compression tape on the bottom portion. That is for sure. But now for the big test, let's see if this thing actually fits into the head. All right. Once the back glass goes in, you know, we're nearing the finish line, right? what episode is this? Is this like 17 or something? So, you know, there could be one more episode. I still got to mess with the other MPU, got some dialing in to be doing, final play testing, so this won't be the end, but it's pretty darn near the finish line. Let's just hope this thing fits. Yes. Phase 1 complete. Holy shit, we've got a freaking Quicksilver in the lineup. Should, like, just for fun, throw in the lock bar. Shut the front door. And admire. Look at that. Let's get a better look here. Okay, next thing we have to do, and I'm already seeing things that I'm not liking, is check the display windows. This is not really wonderful. It's tolerable, I guess, but that is not all that well aligned. At least the digits aren't cut off, but definitely not centered. See, that's a little better. And that's pretty good, and so is that. It's just the top two displays kind of look a little poopy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. But there's nothing really I can do. I can't move those displays up. It's just not feasible. Okay, so here's the next test. Turn it on. Just see what it friggin' looks like. See how the lights shine through. See how the displays look. And yeah, okay, here we go. Okay. General illumination in the back box looks good, looks good. Oh, the displays are totally tolerable. I gotta figure out what the hell's going on with the weird digits for the high score to date. Maybe there's just no data there to input, although the last highest score should be the high score to date, the 79,000. That really should be the high score to date. But even though those display windows are not perfectly aligned, if you look past that and you're just looking at the displays, it's totally tolerable. It is looking good. Now, oh, that's the other thing we got to check. And I already see an issue. High score to date. It's cut off a little bit to the left, so I might have to move that bezel over. Well, I am going to. Game over is even a little bit cut off. It's almost tempting to remove the friggin' baffles altogether. Like, do you really need them? Because it makes the lighting all boxy. I wonder if just removing those things would look better in general. You know what I mean? We'll have to look into that. But there it is. That is where I'm going to wrap up this episode. Got some fine tuning to be doing. But I've got a frickin' Quicksilver in the lineup, boys and girls. It's official. So, yeah, we'll finish on that note. And hopefully Canada can stop sucking in the game and pull up their friggin' slacks and make something happen in period 3.